I'll agree. I agree with the Secretary almost in total with what he said. As you know, Tom, we have a Blue Acres program here that does do some of that buying out. But in this circumstance, we're in the first tranche of this money. We are not going to apply for money for buyouts in this first 1.8 billion. There's another 11 billion to be allocated later on. During this period of time, though, we're going to be going to communities like Sayreville and others to see if there's consensus, because as the Secretary said, it makes no sense to buy one or two of these homes. If you're going to do it, you need to buy out an entire neighborhood, because if you buy 2 or 3 homes in the neighborhood that flood and you leave the other 15 or 20 or 40, then you're back to the same problem in terms of paying for damage in the long haul. So we'll continue to work with these communities. Sayreville is one of them, South Amboy is another, where there's been some interest expressed in this regard. Union Beach has had some interest expressed. So we'll have our DCA folks work with them. If there's consensus, then in the next tranche of money when we apply, that's something we'd consider asking HUD to fund. But it's certainly not something where I'm going to make the decision to condemn certain areas of the state and tell people they cannot rebuild there. I'm very uncomfortable with using that authority. We have it if we need to, but I don't think in this circumstance it's the right thing to do. I think it's much more appropriate to let the community come to some type of consensus, and if they do, then I certainly would be willing to sit with the Secretary and discuss the possibility of using some of this money, because we already have an up and running program, which is something that HUD prefers. You know, if you have a program that's up and running, that has mechanisms to distribute money, evaluate applications and all the rest, that's something that's easier for them to fund right away than if you're starting something from scratch. So since we have the Blue Acres program, it's something we could fund, but I want to make sure we know that people have time away from the emotion of this to make a cool and calm decision as a community as to whether they want to sell out or whether they want to rebuild, and we'll make those decisions then.
One more question, guys. One more.
Thank you. What exactly do homeowners and business owners have to do to access this grant money, and is there a limit to how much they can receive?
So thank you for asking this question, because this is something we've already distributed $3 billion in assistance across the region through funding that FEMA provides, the Small Business Administration. But there are still families and businesses I know that have not registered because they say, you know what, I can't afford a loan, or there's maybe some other reason they haven't come in yet. It is absolutely critical for a homeowner, a business, if you have not done it, call 800-621-FEMA, register, even if you don't think you're going to take money, because it's important that we know that you're out there. One of the ways the primary way we made the decision of how much money to distribute was the unmet needs for housing and business for the folks that have come in to FEMA. So if we don't know you're there, we can't make money available. That's the first thing. Second, this is one of the ways. President Obama said to me, look, get this money out quickly, but also make it easier to use. Cut red tape wherever you can. We have a lot of businesses that came into SBA, Small Business Administration, but because the devastation in their neighborhoods was so great, like here in Seabright, their customer base isn't there. So it's going to be hard for them to support a loan, or they might have had a loan before the storm and they can't support a loan. We're going to take all of that information that we've got from those businesses. We're already giving that to the state, so the state could say, here's a set of businesses we know not only that they may need help, but we already have the information. Why go make them fill out a form again? Why make them spend an hour with somebody explaining everything they've already explained to somebody at SBA when we can just transfer all that information directly to the state or the city of New York or New York State to be able to make sure we cut red tape and make this move more smoothly. So what I would say, if you're out there watching, if you're listening, and you haven't picked up the phone and called, but you need help, 800-621-FEMA or FEMA.gov. Work with us to make sure you're registered, because that's the lifeline, that's the portal for everybody who wants to be able to work with us on this assistance. A last piece of this, we are working with the state to determine what those limits might be. And obviously at the point where we've finalized that with the state, we just awarded the money yesterday. So we will make these decisions quickly, but we haven't done that yet.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Seabright.